Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is still playing out this massive bullish signal as the price is now breaking out above key resistance in the short term, liquidating a lot of short positions in a short squeeze, while Ethereum is still repeating history in the short term, now running into a critical level on the chart that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about all of that and more late in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and over the last 1 day, this chart right here on this time frame has not really changed all that much. So getting straight into the 2-day time frame, and at least for now, we're still forming this massive descending broadening wedge pattern with the line of resistance for this pattern sitting at around 68,500 and the line of support for this pattern sitting at around 53,000 approximately. And so at least while the price of Bitcoin is still below this line of resistance, forming lower highs, technically speaking, we're still trending in the more bearish direction. But if we see a breakout above around 68,500 to 69,000, if we break out above that level with candle closes above that level, then we will flip massively more bullish again with a massive bullish price target to the upside, likely well into the 80k price range if this level of resistance breaks, which at least for now has not happened. And so that's still the situation on this chart right here. So over the last 1 day, this time frame has not changed all that much. But if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, obviously as of right now, we're actually seeing a bit more of a drop to the downside here in the DXY, as you can see, which basically means the US dollar index is crashing, which is bullish for Bitcoin and crypto, as we usually see when the DXY is crashing. And obviously, if you've been watching my last few videos here on the channel, I've been saying here on the channel just recently over the last couple of days before the latest pump even started to play out, I said this is a major bullish signal flashing right now, definitely something to pay attention to. And once again, we just now started to see a major bullish move in the price of Bitcoin, at least in the short term. And so while the DXY is still crashing, which right now it is still crashing, while this is continuing to happen, this is continuing to be a bullish signal for Bitcoin and crypto. So keep this in mind. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, over the last 1 day, we've now obviously seen a breakout above this area of resistance, which should now act as new support in between around 60 to 61,000. And we've also just seen a breakout above this level of resistance right here, based on the volume profile indicator and also previous resistance sitting right at around 62.8k to 62.9k approximately, which should technically now act as new support. But if we actually fail to hold that level as new support, so basically if we see a break back below around 62.8k, then in that case, once again, this area that I just mentioned earlier should be the next support we'll pay attention to if we break back below around 62.8k. But at least for now, that is the short-term support that I'm currently paying attention to. And as for resistance, now that we've broken out above these levels on the chart, the next short-term level of resistance that I'll be watching is sitting at around 64,500, which so far we have struggled a little bit around that level, around 64,500. But if we see a further breakout above that level, then in that case, the next major area of resistance to the upside is basically starting at around 67,000 and goes all the way up towards around 68.3k. That is a significant area of resistance on the price chart. And obviously this major area of resistance at around 67 to 68,000 also aligns very closely with this descending line of resistance sitting at around 68,500, give or take. And so in other words, this is a bullish relief during a bearish trend, as we've seen time and time again. But if we break out above around 69,000, breaking out above this resistance and above this massive area of resistance, then that is when we can finally flip much more bullish again on the larger trend at play, expecting basically a massive continuation to the upside into new all-time highs if we break out above around 69,000. But until then, once again, this is still a short-term bullish relief or short-term bullish trend, which I've already been saying over the last couple of weeks here. We are due to see a bit of a bullish relief just in the short term, a break from all of the bearish price action, which once again can technically still happen within a bearish trend if we fail to break out above this resistance. But if we're zooming into the shorter term, of course, on this 6-hour time frame right here, we have broken out above this horizontal line of resistance, relatively speaking, which was sitting at around 61,500, give or take. And also we have a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern that's basically formed and broken out over the last 1 day here. And if we're measuring out a technical price target for the breakout for this pattern right here, that places a price target at approximately 65.8k give or take, which obviously as of right now we have not actually hit that level, so we technically still have a little bit more room to the upside in the short term. But with that being said, we have to consider other levels of resistance along the way, like for example at around 64,500. And obviously for the most part the price has moved most of the way between the breakout and the price target right here, so I wouldn't necessarily take this trade right here anymore, because basically we've already gotten very close to the price target. Instead, I'll just be focusing on levels of support and resistance for trading opportunities. Obviously if we break out above this resistance, then that could potentially set up a major long position if we're set up for new all-time highs if we break out above this resistance. And now when it comes to my trading strategy, I still actually have a very small long position still open from a couple of weeks ago, which I shared very transparently here on the channel, publicly here on the channel in these videos. Just a few weeks ago I shared that I did have a long position that I opened at much lower prices, and I actually closed most of that position. I took a lot of profits off the table right around this previous high just here before this little pullback. But as I actually mentioned back then on the channel, I did not close the entire position. I closed a lot of the position, took a lot of profits from that trade, but I did not close the entire position. So right now I still have a very small long position open at the moment. And basically with the rest of this trade, considering I've already taken a decent amount of profits out of that trade, basically I'm just letting that trade ride to the upside and slowly moving my stop loss further into profits as the trade moves further into profit. So obviously if you've been watching my videos over the last few weeks, you should be making some decent money right now, as I'm doing at the moment. And if you want to actually trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 just by trading crypto using the link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And with that being said, if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously just a few days ago here on the channel, I shared this short-term bearish divergence, which played out perfectly over the next 1 to 2 days here in the short term. But like I shared in my last video here on the channel, I said yesterday that I no longer expect this bearish divergence to play out much longer. Basically, I expect this bearish divergence to basically wear off over the next 1 day. And eventually, I said actually yesterday, I said over the next 1 to 2 days, I expect a move back up to the upside to liquidate a lot of short positions, which if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, a lot of those short positions, which I shared over the last couple of days, were sitting at around 61.8k to 62k. And I said it's very likely here in the short term, over the next 1 or 2 days, very soon in the short term, we're going to come back up to take out a lot of those short positions, to take out that liquidity, which obviously that's exactly what we did over the last 1 day in a decent short squeeze to the upside. And so once again, if you simply watched my videos over the last few days, you would have seen this short-term pullback right here and the eventual recovery, basically liquidating short positions coming next. You would have seen all of this coming next if you simply watched my last few videos here on the channel. And so now that we've seen this play out basically exactly as expected, if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, believe it or not, even despite the latest pump to the upside, a lot of the funding rates are still sitting below neutral, in negative territory, because the neutral rate is 0.01%. So a lot of these funding rates are still sitting below neutral. And so this means that there's still a lot of traders out there trying to pile in with short positions. Basically, there's a lot of people still very bearish on the market right now in the short term, trying to short Bitcoin and crypto, even while the prices are pumping. And so while the funding rates are staying in negative territories or below neutral, this short squeeze will likely continue for at least a little longer to the upside here. because basically as the Bitcoin bears out there pile in with short positions during a pump to the upside as the funding rates are negative or below neutral, that basically acts as rocket fuel, that acts as bullish fuel, fueling the pump to the upsides, because essentially when short positions are piling into a pump, very quickly those short positions get liquidated, especially when the funding rates are negative, as the shorts are having to pay much more fees to keep the shorts open. And so ultimately, especially the short positions with the high leverage, they very quickly get liquidated in a move like this. And when a short position gets liquidated or closed, that adds more buying pressure, pushing the price higher, which liquidates more short positions, pushing the price higher again, and so on. That is what a short squeeze is. And once again, when the funding rates are negative, that is telling us that there's a continuous supply of new short positions coming into the market. So basically, while the price is pumping, there's still people coming in and trying to short crypto. And so while that is happening, that's just continuing to push the price higher. Basically, they're essentially donating to the rest of us that are holding Bitcoin and crypto. And so in other words, the more people that are trying to short the market right now, the higher the market will likely go. And we can determine how many people are trying to short the market right now by looking at the funding rates. If the funding rates are very negative, a lot of people are trying to short the market. If they're neutral, basically the market's balanced with long positions and short positions. And if the funding rates are well above 0.01%, that means a lot of people are trying to long the market. Everyone is basically bullish if the funding rates are 0.01% or much higher. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, and right now the price is technically still within a larger bearish trend, because at least for now we have not yet confirmed any bullish reversal from the lower high, lower low price structure, because technically speaking, lower highs and lower lows is what a bearish trend is. But as I've explained over and over again here on the channel, if we're looking at a smaller time frame, in the short term, we're seeing a bit of a short-term bullish relief or short-term bullish trend during the larger bearish trend, which obviously can happen as we've seen previously. And so obviously this is very expected price action that I've been talking about recently here on the channel. I've been saying we're likely going to see a bit of a break or a bullish relief of some sort during this bearish trend just in the short term here. And the resistance to pay attention to right now is 2.8k. That is a critical level of resistance. And if we break out above 2.8k, we will likely see a move up towards around 3.2k, or at least above $3,000 if we first break out above 2.8k. And now if we end up seeing another rejection from this resistance, in that case we have major support right here at around 2,500. And if we're zooming into the short term, looking at the 6-hour time frame for the price of ETH and comparing it to the 6-hour time frame, but back here in around March to April 2020, we can still see that we're seeing at the moment very similar price action right now to what we saw back here. And basically the stage in the market right now compared to what we saw back here is that we're running into this range high, this line of resistance right here during a lot of this sideways price range right here in the short term. And back then for the price, that was sitting at around 145 to 150 give or take. And right now this is sitting at around 2.8k give or take. And we can see what happened last time once we saw a breakout above that resistance. First of all, in the meantime, we saw a lot of rejections, the price struggling quite a lot around that resistance. But eventually, once we finally saw a candle close above that resistance, that was the point where we could finally flip a lot more bullish again, at least in the short term, where we saw a decent pump to the upside. And then we actually came back down for a retest and held that previous resistance as new support and continued on higher with another pump. And so this is what I'll be watching out for moving forward. Once again, before we see the breakout, we could see just in the short term, over the next 1 or 2 days, we could see the price struggle for a little while longer around this resistance like what we saw back here. But the moment we actually see a confirmed breakout with a candle close back above 2.8k, that is when we can start flipping much more bullish again, at least just in the short term here. And so this could also potentially be a decent trading opportunity. As always, not personal financial advice because I don't know your personal financial situation. But once we break out above this resistance, once again, we'll likely see the price go a decent bit higher, likely above $3,000 if 2.8k breaks out first. And so obviously that could be a potential opportunity for a short-term long position, and a technical price target for a breakout for this pattern right here, which is an ascending triangle pattern. A technical price target for a breakout here would be sitting at around 3.2k to 3.3k, which from the point of the breakout to that price target would be at around an 18 to 19% move to the upside. And with that being said, if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, obviously Solana has followed along with Bitcoin and Ethereum with this short-term pump to the upside, the short-term bounce. And of course, we've bounced from this major area of support right here in between around 139 to 144 approximately. And the next resistance to watch out for is sitting at around 159 to 163. And above that area of resistance, we have more resistance in between 170 to 175 and significant resistance in between 183 to 187. And so the situation right now for the price of Solana is just in the short term, we are looking more bullish than bearish. So once again, the short term is bullish, but if we're zooming out, looking at the larger trend at play, technically speaking, we're still within a massive sideways price range with relatively horizontal lows and horizontal highs. And once again, the resistance for that sideways price range is that area of resistance that I just mentioned earlier. And the support for this sideways price range is sitting in between around 120 to 128. And so in other words, while the price is in between 120 and 187, while the price is trading in between those two levels right there, we're still in a massive sideways price range. And of course, during this massive sideways price range, we can see short-term bullish trends and short-term bearish trends during the larger sideways trend. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.